Morning, everybody. It is 8:10 a.m. It is October 18th. This market is nuts. Very hard to be long or short in this market. Yesterday, we had that news of curbing the China, the Nvidia chips. That sent AMD and Nvidia rocketing lower, but then they recovered and the market recovered and looked to break out, but then it couldn't. It hit that key resistance in the SPY and the most traded price in the NQ is proving to be resistant. So we're back into this range. And of course, today we have Netflix and Tesla reporting after the close. There were some earnings already pre market that came out that we can briefly talk about as well. Um, we can get into it. All right, welcome to the channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. Use volume market profile to find structure in the market as well as gamma exposure levels, supply and demand, and the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. All helps us find structure in this market. And this market is pretty nuts right now. Okay, they can't break up to the upside, can't break down to the downside. We're waiting for some type of catalyst. All right, all right. Of course, if you enjoy the content that I provide, subscribe, set an alert. Okay, if you like it, you know what to do. Give me a thumbs up. All right, you can also follow me on X at Gonzo719. All right, we can get right into the futures watch list. All right, crude. I know Iran got involved with this war thing, and crude's got some love. The VIX also is up 1.9% at 18. Crude is up $1.62 a barrel at up 1.9. Silver. This is the metals getting love because of this war. Silver's up 1.48%. Gold's up 1.27%. Ether's up 1.06%. 10-year yield reports at 820. Dollars flat. 30-year bonds are actually flat, so interesting what the 10-year yield will do. It spiked again yesterday. Dow is down 0.17, ES down 0.36, NQ down 0.52. All right, Russell is down 0.56, and the Bitcoin is down 0.59. All right, let's move on to stocks I like to day trade and swing trade. Okay, so Microsoft is up 0.37. BA, I have that on my watch. BA is up 0.32. Roblox is flat. Okay, now we got some news in. Okay, we could talk about. Let's go to the laggards here. Now Tesla has earnings. Netflix has earnings. Tesla has earnings. Now Tesla has made a lot of price cuts, and they said that's going to show in their revenue because they made a lot of price cuts. So some people are thinking the revenue might be a miss. I'm not sure, but that's what they're saying. Apple's down 0.8. Okay, AMD, the semis are getting a little hit here. Okay, they're back down. AMD is down 1.08%. Nvidia is down 1.82%. Now ASML, okay, said that orders fell for their semiconductors, so which is not good for the semiconductor sector. Okay, so that was reported this morning. So that's going to take semis and make them a little weaker. Okay. Now AMD, obviously with the China curbs from Biden, Nvidia yesterday said that won't even affect them that much, but obviously it's negative news. AMD, I did put a put ratio on this yesterday when it was coming off the bottom, taking advantage of that high IV, and I don't know if anybody knows what a ratio is, but basically I'm receiving a credit, like 50-cent credit, so $50 a spread. I have multiple spreads on, and Basically, it's got to fall to like if it falls to like 90, I think I have it down to 96. I have no risk. Um, and if it falls down to like 98 by like next Friday, down there around there, I'll make more money. That's the beauty of a ratio. Okay. Um, so that's what's going on there right now. Let's move over to top sector stocks. Now, Procter and Gamble had a nice beat. I'm a proud owner of Procter and Gamble, so up 2%. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Okay. They beat EPS and revenue. They give good forecast, I believe, too. That was guidance as well. Exxon's up, Chevron's up, United Healthcare. We had Abbott Labs report as well this morning. All right, let's go to some laggards here. Qualcomm, semis, Visa. Okay, Visa. Now, Morgan Stanley reported as well. I have to dig into why it's down because it beat, but there's something in their numbers that obviously was a miss. But now Visa, the Fed is looking of lowering debit card swipe fees. So Visa and MasterCard are getting a hit with that. Okay, that's what's going on. They're on the, I guess, the crypto space front. Block, ticker SQ, got a price target lowered. All right, Nvidia got a price target lowered. So that's no surprise with the Nvidia. Okay. Now the thing is these dips get bought, resistance gets sold. That's where we're at right now. We're in a range. Okay. So market's trying to figure out what it's going to do. Let's go on to the sectors. Okay. Crude. I mean not crude. Energy leading the pack, 58%, up 0.58%. Sorry. Staples, obviously it's Procter and Gamble, and then we have the bottom three. Discretionary. That's Tesla, Amazon, Home Depot. Financials. You know who those are. Morgan Stanley being down almost 3%. Okay. Semis down 1.18%. That's not a surprise, right? That is not a surprise. So we can get into some news really quickly, really briefly. Economic calendar is super light, but let's get into some news. All right. Now, just certain things here I want to point out, and we can highlight them. What happened yesterday? The UK CPI came a little hotter than expected. Okay. A couple things here. Oil prices. Here we go. So this is for the UK, the Europe. Oil prices. Oil prices rose more than 3% while stocks fell as Iran escalated its rhetoric against Israel in the aftermath of an explosion of the Gaza hospital, complicating diplomatic efforts to bring the Middle East conflict under control. So that oil going up like that is not good. Okay. Biden's set to meet with Israel. Okay. Gold. The people are flocking to the gold and silver. Now, yesterday, 2-year yields reached the highest level since 2006. That's annoying. All right. So that's just interesting, right? Now, Goldman Sachs fell after reporting a 33% drop in profit. So yeah, and then Fed Barkin. Oh my God, that's so annoying. Here we go here. I'm still seeking confirmation that the economy is slowing. Path of inflation is not yet clear, but sees clear progress. If recession arrives, it's possible it could be milder than unread. They all talk about it. They don't want to talk about a big recession. Nobody does. No one ever talks about that. Okay. We can look at the calendar here. There's building permits, building housing starts, housing starts. It's not really a big anything mover. We got Fed speak today. Fed Waller, Williams, Bowman, Harker. Okay. Tomorrow you have, I believe, Powell. Yeah, Powell talks at 12 p.m. tomorrow. You got initial jobless claims in the Philly Fed, existing home sales. That's for as far as tomorrow. I mean, let's just see if there's anything here to note. Let's see why Morgan Stanley is dropping, right? So Morgan Stanley fell 2.9 after the banking giant reported a 9% drop in profit from a year ago. There you go. While revenue grew, essentially matching expectations, but the that's the reason for the drop. 9% drop in profit. Procter and Gamble we talked about. United Airlines, that's another big one. Stock fell 5.3% after the carrier disappointed with its guidance, forecasting weaker fourth quarter earnings due to higher costs. Okay, that's pretty much the news. All right, we have, remember, Tesla and Netflix after the market closes today, and Sands, Las Vegas Sands. That's what we got kind of on tap. All right. Now we have TSM tomorrow, semis. So semis, we'll see. We'll see if they can hold up here. All right, let's move on. I think we can go right to this daily chart here. Let's do it. All right. So let's just get real close up here. Let's maybe move from here. Boop. Okay. Now, still got my fib on, right? Look where we did yesterday. We came up and broke this resistance briefly. Went up to like, where did we go? What was the high yesterday? 438.14. Came up here, right? Almost hit the 50-day moving average, 100-day moving average. But then we couldn't hold it. So this resistance, 1, 2, 3 days, was broke. This is last week's highs. But then we closed here. Okay. And look at these candles. These are just in a range. Just in a range, right? Couldn't break higher. Couldn't hold it. Broke higher, but couldn't hold it. Okay, so we're in a range right now. So where are we at now? 434.73, 434. Oh, you must have just got a little bump. So we're like in the mid of the range. Doesn't give you anything. When you're in the middle of the range, no, it doesn't give you anything. That's not a clue, but you do know you're going to go inside out. When you're in the middle of a range and you're in the middle, you're going to go out. You're going to go test the edges. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to test those edges. Okay. That's about it for the SPY. Let's look at the Qs. Alright, so the Qs don't have that as like they have a couple candles go up. You have 3 candles kind of in a range. SPY has been holding up a little better structure wise, just because it's more broad. Yeah, it's got a lot of sectors. Nasdaq's pretty much tech. So obviously with Nvidia and the weakness in semis, that's gonna hurt, right? Now there is a little weakness in financials today, which is not good. That's the only thing that's, well, it's not positive, but XLV. Remember, the top 4 sectors make up the S&P. XLK, 28%, followed by healthcare, which is like around 13%. Then you got financials, and then you got discretionary. Those are the top 4 heavyweight sectors. Okay, that's what's going to really move the markets. All right, so let's look at this. So now notice the Qs couldn't even take out the day before's high, and the SPY broke out of its resistance, but then it couldn't hold it, right? So you see we came all the way down here, broke these lows, but then we got bought up, right? And we came all the way up here, and then we closed here. Where are we now? 366.50. 366.50. We're about here. We're about the midpoint of yesterday's range. Okay. We closed above the 100-day moving average and the 9 EMA daily, but that's where price is about right now. You can see last week's high. We're inside last week. Okay, that's kind of where we're at right now. Okay, IWM had a nice move yesterday, but who knows? Came all out. It was a pretty big candle here, but then it's down. It's the weakest sector right now. I wouldn't really trust it. And the Dow is just in a range. Kind of broke out of this little range right here and then closed back in. So it's moving sideways. Okay, so that's the wrap up. That we can go right over to triple header, which is the crazy bond market, the nuts bond market. Now look at that. Yesterday you gapped up, went all the way up here. Now you're kind of went up here and now holding these highs. Now the 10-year yield is down 0.08 right now. The yield is at 4.84 right now. So can we go back up to this high, or do we drop back down? If this keeps going, it's going to put pressure on the market. If it drops, it can make the market rally. Doesn't always mean that it can't rally if the bond market, but generally they're inverse. All right, so keep an eye on that. Now the VIX is staying elevated. Okay, we're at 18. 16 is a 1% move in the daily expected move. Okay, higher highs, higher lows, higher lows. Okay, it broke those lows yesterday, but we're up again. So there's some fear. There's some fear in the market. Now the dollar, let's see, the dollar's kind of been lollygagging a little bit. Yeah, look at that, just in this range here, in between 106.74 and 105.88. It's got to decide what it wants to do. All right, let's move on. Go to my favorite tool, the market profile and the volume profile. Okay. Not sure who's with me today. Rosita is traveling. I haven't seen Ween in a while. Maybe Colby's with us. I am not sure. The show must go on. If you're new, hopefully you're enjoying what you're seeing. If you're new to the market profile, hope this doesn't look like gibberish to you. It's what I love to use. Volume profile, market profile to find structure. So let's talk about structure. Right? And the easiest things to look at is a profile, right? Profile is just showing how many contracts traded at each price. All right, it basically represents the auction as if the market is an auction, because it is an auction. So look, you have not a lot of people buying up there, right? Then you got a lot of people buying here. That's the most traded price of the week and the month right here, 4,400. Then you get a low volume node, not as many people, right? And then you get another distribution, and then you get a little bit of people right here. Okay. Now 4,400 is the level. Now you can see right here, we pushed up into the gap. All right, so we filled that a little bit. So I actually can move this up. To the top. There. So we filled it again. Now we still have not fully filled that gap. Okay. This is the big level. We're going to make a huge move because the most traded price of the week and the month are equal, as well as pretty much yesterday's most traded price. So that's why there's so much. It's a magnet here. These are magnets. Okay. Price gets drawn to them. What happens is you're going to go away, and then you get drawn back to it. You're going to go away, and you're going to get drawn back to it. And eventually you're going to jump, break out to the up or down. Don't know which way, but that's the way it works. Okay, now we're in the middle of the muddle again. In the middle of the muddle again. The market needs to figure out what it wants to do. Price is here. Okay, this is yesterday's high. This is yesterday's low. This is the overnight high. This is the overnight low. Okay, you're in the middle of yesterday's session. We are going to do this, test this bound, or test here today? And then do we break out or do we go back? All right, reversion to the mean. Because eventually we're going to break out. Now, there's not a lot of catalysts. Maybe Jerome Powell tomorrow speaking, or Tesla, Netflix. I don't know. But something's going to move this market. Okay, now notice there is one trend here. The one trend is there's been a lot of negative news and the market has not fallen. So that is a little feather in the cap for the bulls. All right, a lot of negative news. The war, the chip, semis. Right, there's this financial sector. Like, it's not great, and yet the market's holding. So just keep that in mind. All right. Now this is an easy one today. Very easy. Because we're in a range, right? And you do what's working until it doesn't. Now we do have inventory here, but it's a balanced profile. It doesn't matter. So we are almost, like, I would say close to 90-85% net short. But see, the price is working its back into the middle, and you kind of got a balanced profile, so it doesn't really give us that edge. Now remember, yesterday I called for the reversal and it happened, right? Not an easy trade though, but it did happen. So, all right. So pretty easy here. Bullish case, okay? Unless we don't break out, right? You're going to come down here. This is the inside out. Now, this is very hard to trade it, to just go short, to go to the edge. I'd rather come to the edge, test yesterday's lows, even break them a little bit, get into this demand zone. If you start noticing that we're making lower highs, probably going to go back up, test this big level, 4,400, maybe attempt to break out. That's basically, you're going to play the edges today. It's called an edge. You're just reversion to the mean, right? We're in balance. Okay, we're in balance. Let's look at if you're a seller, right? If you come up, and you could fail here with this big level, but when you're in balance, that level is more of a magnet and reversion to the mean than a big resistance. So generally, if this is, you're not in balance, this will act as a big wall. It still can. You can still come up here, fail, and come back down, right? That's one. But if you come to the edge, again, you hit supply and this gap and act resistances again, well, you're going to move here and you're going to move down. Okay? Pretty simple. Pretty simple. Now, that I have a little time here, whenever there's a thing called balance rules. Okay? So let's just say this is our balance area. Okay, so you come up here, you usually go back here, right? Then you come to the other side of the range, you go back here. Okay, so a couple things can happen here. If you break out again and you fail, you usually go back to the other end of balance. Okay, if you go this way, what you do is you take this balance, however big it is, and you double it. And that's how far you should move lower. Same thing to the upside. So it's pretty cool. It usually works. Okay, so we test it out here. My guess is we probably test down here. Okay, so let's move on to the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ, let's look at it. Let's look at the structure together. Okay, now NASDAQ, look at that. It's got a little excess to the top. Distribution, distribution. Got a bunch of distributions here, right? And then you got excess at the bottom, thanks to yesterday. Okay, pretty much got a lot of distributions, but you're pretty much in balance. Okay, same thing here. Okay, not a little different because the most traded price of the month is still down here, and that is 14870. However, we have the most traded price of this year and a year ago right here at around 153.15. So we're in between these levels. Okay, so what do we see here? We got overnight high, overnight low. Now what we do have here in the NASDAQ, here's our overnight high, low. We have a poor high. Okay, we have a poor high. And I'll zoom in to show you what that means, okay, in market profile terminology. So price is here, okay, we're inside yesterday's session. So it doesn't give you a lot of edge here. Now the one thing that you do have here in the NASDAQ, okay, is we opened here. This is the only long activity to this much short activity, and price is at the bottom of the overnight. So looking like possibly could be a little reversal, okay, like I talked about yesterday. I'd want to see this extend a little bit, maybe hit, see how yesterday hit the monthly VWAP? I talked about that yesterday. And then boom, we reversed. Okay, not an easy trade. Okay. So we're kind of like making a lot of volume here. You see this overnight volume right here, most traded price in the NASDAQ? And you don't have a lot of excess here. I can see us pushing down, testing possibly yesterday's lows again. And then if you make higher lows, you could traverse and go back again. Okay. And now this is setting up more for the reversal, the NASDAQ. Okay. Now that we got that out of the way, this big level here is the most traded price of the year and of the rolling year. This year and the rolling year. So that's been resistant multiple times. You can see it here, 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 and here. Okay, so there's a lot of shorts up there. And what happened is in a market profile, you call this a poor high. Now, why is it a poor high? Let's zoom in here. Okay, see these little two white boxes? I don't need that, but that my plugin tells me that's a poor high. All that means is longs got poor location here. Longs got poor location. So these are two 30-minute TPOs, or two 30-minute bars that got stuck at 153.09. Okay, now what that means is every profile usually ends in excess. Okay, excess just means you have excess up here, right? You have excess. Excess just means that you don't have these overlapping TPOs. Okay, so this is longs at poor location. And the market comes back, right? So all this means is this is susceptible to get broken and to correct it. So be mindful of that. That's a poor high. Okay. Just wanted to show you guys that. And the scenarios are going to be very, very, very similar. Very, very easy today. Okay. So let's get into that before I go. Make this a little smaller. Okay. So as for the bull case here, because we are in a range. So we're in a range until we're not, right? So you want the market to prove to you that it's going to break down or break up, right? So price is here. It's nice. We're looking for a nice reversal. I'd like to see some extension. So if the market does start to come down, and it's not a lot of volume here, you can easily test this monthly VWAP again in yesterday's lows. There's demand down here, so it could even scare some longs here and dip into this demand, pop right out. Also the 20-day simple moving average on the daily. Make some higher lows, and you can really push up. We got single prints here. Really push up here. Come right into, there's a lot of supply here, so that would probably be, you get some resistance in here. Okay. Then do you make the move? Back up to this area to test it. That's really what I'm seeing. Okay. Now, as far as the short, Same kind of deal as what I was talking about in the ES. Okay. I mean, you obviously, I wouldn't. This is not my style, but if it just like pushed down, obviously you can test this here, right? We also can push down, come up into this supply. There's a lot of supply here. Fail, roll over. Okay. Test yesterday's this naked VPOC from the past and test this demand. Ultimately, if we really get weakness and we break lower, you're going to come down to the most traded price of the month. Okay. Of course, the market could do this, go all the way back to this poor high, take it out, go into this supply, and come right back into here and balance. Okay. That's really what I see. And right now, to give you some visual of this most traded price is right here. So I want to show you why the importance of volume profile and the high volume nodes. See, notice this price, right? This is the most traded price of this year and of the year, of the rolling year. That's why it's not surprising we're getting so much resistance right there. Okay? If you break above this, it's smooth sailing. Okay? Now remember, these white profiles are the months. So that's a monthly low and a monthly low. You got double monthly lows here. This is the week. Higher low, higher low, higher low. Market has to prove what it wants to do. Okay? This is the ES. Then I'll show you the most traded price of the year, of this year and of a year ago, right? It's right here. Now look where the market stopped. This high volume right here, okay? Look at the market, came right down to it, tested it, pushed off of it, and now we're holding up here. These are why these are important. They're magnets. Right here, see what we did? We were in balance. You move from balance. This is the most traded price of that month and of these weeks. When you have that, you break. Boom. Boom. Went down to where? The most traded price. Then what happens? You sit here, you move away from it, and now look what we're doing. We're creating balance again. You see this right now? This week's most traded price is this month's most traded price, 4,400. You see how they line up? Big move happens when that happens. We either come back here or we're going to make a move back to here around 4,500. Okay? That's why it's great to look at buying profiles. It's very easy to look at it, very easy. Okay? It's not complicated. It's very easy. And that's going to be it, okay? If you like what you saw, subscribe, set an alert. All right? You can always give me a like. That's much appreciated. You can always follow me on social media, and that would be at Gonzo719 on X. All right? Pretty easy game plan today. Be patient. This market's nuts. All right? So stay green today, and I'll see you better tomorrow.